Hello everybody, welcome to StraightA, Dawson here, and back with another video, a ranking video actually, for this year's 2024 NFL Pro Bowl events. So of course the Pro Bowl was a few weeks ago, obviously at this point been past the Super Bowl and all that stuff. I watched like half the events before, and then I went to Las Vegas, and then I watched the rest of them, and then I rewatched the other ones too, and I was like, you know, I actually kind of enjoyed it in its own little sadistic manner, and I kind of wanted to go through and rank these Pro Bowl events for you guys, kind of give my opinion to what events I thought were fun, what events I thought were intuitive, which ones should return next year, if any of them, you know. And here's the long and skinny of it all for the Pro Bowl. It's a fine, cool event that celebrates the Super Bowl without people getting hurt. That's what we appreciate about the Pro Bowl. Is there really much to appreciate anymore? Not really. Is it cool getting nominated for the Pro Bowl? Sure, but it's not really. It's not about the Pro Bowl event itself. It's about the reward that comes for saying, hey, you're one of the best people in your position, and you know we'll celebrate you at this event. I think that's what purely it should be, and that's how people should have treated it as. We'll get into the events and what they kind of mark and how fun they are, and you know all this good stuff for it. But before we get started, please leave a like down below and comment down below any suggestions you have for this channel, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Without further ado though, we're gonna get right into the video. So with the Pro Bowl, as I said before, again, it's a celebration of all that's great about, you know, the players, the NFL, people who made it to that moment. It just should be treated that way. People shouldn't put all these high expectations of AFC versus NFC, boom, 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 go and collide. It's cool to treat it like that, and it's cool for Madden and stuff like that. But like, let's face it, guys. These are just real guys who want to just celebrate themselves, let loose a little bit, who didn't make the Super Bowl. Just let them have fun here and let them, you know, enjoy themselves. Don't put too much merit on it, and let the events happen as they should. Now, with that said, they should make competitive events that are pretty cool for the viewers at home too. They should make this a pretty, you know, competitive, nice event. Obviously, it's hard to do that with nothing really at stake except for just pride, but either way, there's certain ways to innovate it, and I think the Pro Bowl is going in a good direction. It's just gotta really fine-tune some stuff and get it there. We'll talk about the flag football event and everything as well. But there were 12 events total for the Pro Bowl this year, and I think there's a variety of good and bad about each of these events. I don't think there was any amazing ones except for maybe like 3, but there was a lot of good. So there's a lot of all right, I should say. But number 12 right now is going to be, of course, Kick-Tac-Toe. For one, you can't find this shit anywhere. It seems like this is the one event I could not find forever. Had to watch the whole broadcast on TikTok, and apparently from every research thing I found, the broadcast got even cut early. Of like, there's not really wasn't an interview or anything. It was just kind of 6 kicks or 8 kicks or whatever it took. A weird call got made. This was just not fun to watch. This wasn't a fun event. I think there's probably more intuitive ways of seeing like how far can kickers kick, or you know what kind of weird shots can they make in a field goal. I feel like it's gonna be way more fun than this shit. I don't know. This is the worst event by far, and just should not be, just shouldn't return. I accidentally watched 2023's Kick-Tac-Toe, and that wasn't much better. It was just the fucking long snappers, just boop, boop, boop. It's just nothing. So this event sucks. Get rid of it. Simple to the point. Number 11, not much better. It's Tug of War. And you know, I got nothing against Tug of War. Let it come back next year, whatever. It's a cool event. It's a cool idea. It's just that this event was not fun to watch because it was just purely NFC sided here. There was no like back and forth. It was just pure tug of war of like one side pretty much wiping them out both times. It wasn't good strategy. It was a weird pick of people, whatever. I don't even remember the players' names very well. This is something that I'm not going to go in depth of like, oh, here's the analysis of like boom, boom, boom. This is just purely for fun. I'm just watching this for fun, and I'm not going to go and treat it more than they treated it here. So the NFC, the biggest highlight for me was Aiden Hutchinson just absolutely killing it with his legs. This is why it's over the Kick-Tac-Toe. Plus, Kick-Tac-Toe sucks. But Tug of War, yeah, sure. I don't know really what else you can do with it. It's a cool event. You put it in there, and I'm sure it's really cool in person. It's really cool just to say whatever. But it's just, you set all of it up, and you get like 20 seconds of good time. It's like me in bed. So like it wasn't even really a great time. It just was like, oh, AFC's about to fall. All right, cool. By the way, I'm an AFC guy, so like watching them, you know, lose wasn't fun. But like that's beside the point. I just didn't watch them like struggle at all. Like I didn't watch like NFC. NFC just freaking just boom, it was over. Beside the point. It was just a fun event. This year just wasn't good. Maybe it'll be better in the future. Let it return. Whatever. Beside the point. Number 11. Number 10 is a very interesting one. I didn't appreciate it at all. Maybe this is going to make me a hater for it, but Snapshots, I think it was called, whatever. It was just the snappers of like the centers basically snapping a ball, trying to get into the holes, similar to like the precision passing, I guess. except that everybody really sucked, and it's nothing against them. It's just that it's not what they're meant. It's not what their positions really does. They snap the ball, but they don't snap the ball that fucking far and that that precise. They have people to catch it, or whatever. Beside the point, it was just not a good test of showing off their skills at all. I don't know how you can make this interesting. Maybe make it closer. Maybe do whatever. I don't know. Maybe it's just the people involved just didn't really care either. I couldn't tell. This event just felt really, really off the whole time. Jason Kelsey made 5. Someone missed all of them, and then someone just spammed in a bunch of ones and they won. It's just that's not a fun way to end it. I don't know. It wasn't a fun event for me. It gets above the other two because it was an event that existed and happened and slightly entertained me. But like, whatever. Jason Kelsey carries. Boom, bada bing. Number 10 spot is where Snapshots goes. Don't return it, please, or at least do something different with it. I don't know. This is just a weird event. Number 9, and this one sucks because I like the concept of what they were going for here, but I just don't think it was executed very well. And in number 9, it gets put here purely above the other ones, based purely on its theatrics. It's the best catch thing. I didn't really want to pull up a photo or whatever. So it's just the best catch. Basically, it was like Puka versus David Njoku of like who can figure out the best catch, essentially. And I probably should be like describing these events a little bit better. There really wasn't much to describe for each one of these, to be honest with you. The best catch was just simply Puka versus David Njoku of who can basically perform the best spectacular catch. They both put it on the water, or David Njoku like flipped in the air to try to catch it, missed all 3 times, so he didn't even get a shot. And then Puka just surfed and caught the second one. It was cool, but like it wasn't like it was just all theatrics about Puka and David Njoku's energy. That's what really carried it, and that's why it's better than the other 3, because the theatrics really carried it, but the event itself is probably near the bottom of like tic-tac-toe. Number 8, and this one hurts me a lot because I like this sport a lot. I love this sport, but it just was not done well by the NFL, and it's just dodgeball. I mean, for one, I couldn't really tell what was going on. The rules weren't right. I get like you shouldn't really enforce the rules at all in dodgeball or whatever. It felt weird. The sports, they were like doing replays, slow down the action a whole bunch. And I don't know. I didn't vibe with it. It was AFC defense versus NFC defense. Sorry, NFC defense versus AFC offense, then AFC defense versus NFC offense. Both offensive teams won, so I wish they got like a tournament style, like, oh, boom, let's put those offenses together. That would have been really cool. That would have maybe put this at like a spot or 2 higher. But like, it just wasn't shot well. I don't know. The replays were kind of weird. The players, again, just weren't involved in this a whole lot. It felt like they weren't into it, so I don't know. I love dodgeball, but this just wasn't done well. It was whatever. I kind of watched it, kind of didn't. Kind of got distracted because I was like, I don't know what's going on. So it goes above the other ones just because, again, it was an event that I did find some enjoyment from, but like, it just wasn't executed well. It should return, just like the best catch should return. I think both these things are very cool things that can be like fleshed out. Maybe do a little bit more with it. I don't know. It just didn't impress me. Sorry, number 8's where it goes. So a running theme is like these events so far have just been events that like marginally have impressed me, and that's going to be a very common theme for most of these events, I'll be honest. Number 7 is one I wanted to rank higher. Now let this be known, because it was something that definitely interests me, but also I recognize that it's not the most interesting thing in the world. I like golf. I like golf a lot. And the precision, not precision passing, but closest to the pin event were all like 5v5 or 4v4. Basically, this test from both the AFC and NFC tried to hit the ball and make it to the green. Whoever got closest to the pin won, basically. And this was just really entertaining, mostly because it's exactly how I would play. Half these guys don't play golf, and half these guys did. And I would be like the guys who did not play golf because they just snapped it into the water, snapped it to the side, or barely moved it. That's fun as hell seeing it. And then there was a couple guys who actually made it really intense and really competitive, so it got really close. I loved it. I loved that intense energy from those guys who were just having fun. And this was one of those events that felt like it's not at all to do with anything football, but they were having fun with it. So like, that makes it better when you put football players who are trying to do skill based things and they're trying to have fun with it. It's almost a little weird to me. I don't know. This was just a lot of fun. I like this. I think it's a nice little cherry on top for those who just have, casual times. Golf is a very big pastime for a lot of people. So, a lot of these people do it for fun. A lot of these people do it to be really good. So, I like seeing it. This was a good one. I'd say you could also put this a couple spots higher, but I think, realistically, 7's a good spot for. So, I liked it. There was a lot of good jokes made by it. So, I'm going to go with number 7 here. Number 6, and it's only getting this high because of the entertainment from it. The actual event was not very good because it was very, very one-sided, and that was the Madden 24 head-to-head. Basically, they just played Madden 24 AFC NFC Pro Bowl style, and the NFC absolutely whooped some ass. And it was too bad because I really was looking for Tyreek Hill versus Micah Parsons. I think it was Puka versus, oh my gosh, I can't remember the other player, but he also sold too. David Njoku. And it's just really one-sided. I didn't get much enjoyment from it. This is something that could have been really, really high, because this is, again, one of those things. It's like, sure, it's football, but like it's not anything to do with football, you know? It's just Madden. And I think I see content creators, I see people play with Tyreek Hill, Micah Parsons, all the time, and that's fun. But like, this just wasn't fun at all. It's just, they made it too much. They tried too hard with it. It gets this high because it was funny, because Tyreek Hill, Micah Parsons, David Njoku, and Puka are the absolute gems of this earth. But like, the event itself really wasn't that fun. So like, it gets number 6, should return next year. Hopefully they do something more with it, or hopefully they are able to make it more entertaining next year. But like, again, it's kind of like with dodgeball, or not dodgeball, the tug of war one. Just hopefully it gets better next year. I don't know. Number 5, and this was one that's really hard to put somewhere, because all the events thus far have been like 5-8 minutes. Like, I think the longest one's like 12 minutes, and the shortest one's like, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever. But it's the actual Pro Bowl, so it's the actual flag football game. And like, the minute to enjoyment quality of the other events are way higher than this. Let that be known. But I'm trying to treat this as much as watching a football game as possible. And it's getting this high because it was competitive. It was a lot of fun to see the players have fun. There was just nice, unique things that a lot of people were doing. They weren't taking it very seriously, and I enjoy that. I enjoy just players kind of just casually playing around and being fine with it. It was fun to watch theatrics, but at some point I kind of just teetered off. So it's kind of doing it how I do like a regular football game that I'm not invested into a whole lot. And I kind of was working on some other stuff while I was watching it. And like, whatever, it was fine. And it should probably return this format. Honestly, I think I like this better than the Pro Bowls in the past, from what I've seen from the past Pro Bowls, non-flag football. They try to be serious, but no one really cares. That's the one problem I have with this, is like, once somebody caught the ball, it was really hard for them to really try to justify doing any kind of action to pull the flag. So it's really an offensive game. It's like 64-59 or something like that. So in that sense, it was a lot of fun, but also it was kind of frustrating, because it was like, man, I wish I could just see a hit right there. But like, it makes me appreciate the regular game of football, but also it lets these guys have fun, So like, let the boys have fun, let them go out there. That's the enjoyment I got out of this. Like, similar to the Madden one, I just think I got a lot of enjoyment from seeing other players just do wacky stuff and have fun with it. And I think I vibed well with that, and I think it probably should continue like this. It's just, it just makes me appreciate football more, So good. It gets a 5 spot just because, again, many of the other events have just not been entertaining. Well, I think I found a lot of enjoyment from this, but just not as much minute to laugh, type ratio. So take that as you will. Number 5 spot, where the actual Pro Bowl goes. Sure. Number 4, and if you asked me at the very start of this, when I watched, this was the very first event I watched. If you asked me where this would have ranked, I would hopefully say this was near the bottom, but unfortunately it's at number 4. I did rewatch it again because it's one of the first ones I watched, so I had to rewatch it after I got back from Las Vegas, and I gained a little bit more appreciation for it. The precision passing, it's really hard to be a passer in the NFL, I get it, and so you couldn't expect them to hit dots after dots. It's just really weird at first, kind of adapting myself to saying, like, the really good quarterbacks not do well in precision passing. It's just that they for one, probably just didn't have their whole full energy into it. They weren't in pressured situations where they had to make reads and go here or there. It just was simple passing, them just doing simple stuff, and it was fun. It was cool. I like seeing it, and honestly, I liked seeing the head-to-head of Baker versus CJ Stroud. It's really cool to show like the veteran instinct, the veteran kind of assessments of like of throwing from Baker with CJ Stroud just doing the spectacular stuff, or trying to do spectacular stuff, and people going for fun and stuff like that. That's where it's getting where it drives me over the edge, where I think a lot of the quarterbacks are just having fun, bantering back and forth, and this was more long form content. I think it's the longest outside of the actual pro football one, or what's called football, flag football game. So I'm just gonna take that as you will, move forward with it, and let this one be number 4, purely because, again, there's just a bunch of banter, a bunch of fun. Plus, it's cool seeing the passing. I think it's cool seeing the passing spins and almost seeing like it hit the target, whether it did or not, and seeing the skill from these guys. Because when you really break down how hard this is, when I leveled myself back down and said this is actually really fucking difficult, it was pretty damn cool to see when they hit those shots, because they were hitting them like every 5 shots, when most people probably hit them every 20, 30, 40, 50, if ever. So like, I gained a lot of appreciation for it, and that's why I think it's just a good, solid, entertaining one. And again, it should return next year. I think something similar to this should exist as long as they keep on adapting it and constantly changing it. I think this could only get better. Number 4 spot is where it goes, and I do think it's in that realm of like where this flag football and the Madden one, where it's like it was slightly entertaining, but now top 3 are where I'm getting really, really super entertained. Number 3, and this is going to be a common theme with one more of these. I just love big beefy men just throwing stuff around. I'm a WWE guy. I kind of like that kind of stuff too. It's just entertaining to see guys do really spectacular physical strengths of feet. And I wish we kind of do a combine version of this, where like there's a combine version of like the 4-yard dash and all that. I don't know. I didn't really watch the whole actual Pro Bowl events. I just kind of watched the events individually. If that makes sense. So I don't know if they really did any of that. I don't think they did. But either way, beside the point, I think they have done in the past, but not this year. Number 3, it's Move the Chains, which was a spectacular event just because you got to see 5 guys on each side move a bunch of weight to get it off so they can pull it as hard as they can and get to the finish line. And it's a bunch of strategy, but also just a bunch of guys seeing the feat of strength that 5 guys can pull 2,000 pounds so easily. Not only that, but also getting 3,000 pounds off of it first, or keeping it on if they wanted to. But apparently in the past they said that did not work out very well. Beside the point, it was just really fun seeing these guys be so fucking strong and pull this stuff like so easily across the line. And even though the NFC won by a decent margin, AFC was like not that far behind them. Like, it was just really cool seeing the feats of strength. And I think this kind of stuff is what I want to see, how you incorporate O linemen, D linemen, stuff like that, because this is the cool stuff. I like seeing them, how strong these motherfuckers are. Like, if you watch some of the videos of normal people going up against these guys, it's night and day. I want to see these guys like do some like stuff on their own. How much can they lift? I don't know. It's just cool stuff I recognize from these guys, and I want to see more of it next year. 100% bring this fucking shit back. Number 2, it's a little bit change of pace from the previous one, but I enjoyed it, and it probably has no reason to be this high other than the reason of like the commentators kind of carried it for me and how much fun that was. Also just the visuals I got from the guys participating in this event. And that's high stakes. That was just like a simple catch for a kick return type deal. It was like 5 players from each side catching catching a ball, but they had balls already in their hand. So like they started off with 2 balls in their hand, and they just were catching them, and they had to catch them with how many balls they had in their hand. This is going to be really bad out of context. People clip this because I'm talking about balls and hands and stuff like that. But it was just a lot of fun seeing guys like showing the different formation of how you can kick return, basically, or how you can catch them without, with more balls in your hand. Because some people try to do like between the legs balls in your hands, and yes, I did that one on purpose, and then try to use like free up a hand to basically bring it in, use your chest more, bring the balls in, boom, towards your chest. And this is going to be really bad visuals too, because boom, boom. Beside the point, it was just a lot of fun because like people were just doing different strategies, different cool stuff. Someone, the winner, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting your name? I literally had it before we started this. Miles Killebrew won this, and he had like 6 balls in his hand by the end of it, and that was just so super cool to see of like what these guys are able to do and how hard. I mean, that stuff is hard. Like I couldn't do that probably 2 balls in my hand. I probably couldn't do that with 0 balls in my hand, to be honest with you. Beside the point, it was just really cool seeing the guys go back and back and back and just attempt this stuff. And it was just the personalities, the commentary is really good. I think this was the Pro Bowl at its like energetic highest, in my opinion, of just like people enjoying themselves and just doing cool stuff. And this is the kind of stuff I want to aincorporate people who like aren't necessarily quarterbacks or like fast guys or stuff like that, who would just do skill type stuff. I don't know. High stakes is a really good one. This should 100% return, and this was a highlight of the whole Pro Bowl for me. At number 1 though, by a simple landslide. Like, I love number 2. Number 2 is great, but this was a simple landslide. I love relay race type deals, and that was the Gridiron Challenge. The Gridiron Challenge for the AFC versus NFC was so cool. Wish it was like a little bit more refined, but like, I can't complain. They busted through some walls. They maneuvered through some stuff. They it just was like they pulled a bunch of guys or pushed a bunch of guys over the finish line. It was just so much chaos and so much fun with so many people doing different things that they're good at, and it was just simply magic. And they had like the buttons where like it wasn't like a relay race where you tag them, you just press a button, next guy's new to go. So like it was intense. It was back and forth. NFC NFC had a good lead. AFC caught up and led actually by a decent margin. The NFC came back and fucking won it. And this was peak events I saw. This was a bunch of people having fun, and it was just putting their own like strengths to the test here. And I think more stuff with this, more team-based activities, like how cool something like a quarterback starting the relay, they have to make a really impressive throw to their wide receiver. The wide receiver then has to maneuver through like a little course thing. They maybe chuck the ball to their running back who has to burst through the walls, who then gives it to their D linemen who have to push a guy over the finish line or something like that. Something that can keep on combining these team efforts and making it into these events are something so cool and so outrageous. I would love to see this more. Gridiron Challenge, you get number 1 by a long shot, a gold medal, gold star, A+ in this class. Simple and to the point. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's a nice little fun, characteristic video. I know, again, Pro Bowl was 2 weeks ago, but we have a lot of off-season to cover, a lot of series coming up, a lot of things I'm working on in the past, or not the past, in the future, for the future, and I'm really excited for this, guys. So stick around, subscribe to the channel, and StraightA Dawson is out. See you guys.